In today's video, I'll be going over how to quicken your progress to the maximum potential it can be. The thing with progress is it's different from person to person. Now, I'm not mentioning factors like genetics or how long you've been training in the gym, which do play its own role. But when it comes to progress, it's very goal orientated. So if your goal is to get much stronger and powerlifting is all you care about, your progress is solely based on the weight on the bar. Whereas if you're someone completely different and just trying to look like Ronnie Coleman, then all you care about would be how big you're looking from month to month. And because of that, since both goals are completely different, the way progress is also measured is completely different. The main reason the bros go to the gym is either because they want to get bigger, and usually when they start going to the gym, they also fall in love with the fact that they're able to progressive overload and how their logbooks show week to week they're increasing in weight. And so over time, they also find an inclination to the strength aspect. Because of that, you may fall into the category of either purely wanting to focus on strength, or a mix of strength and size, or solely on size, or endurance reasons. CrossFit's for losers. But since this video is mainly made for the gym bros, all the alterations or the things you can do to increase your progress or maximize it will be more tailored towards the size and strength goals aspect. But before we go any further, I want to show a couple of charts which divide your progress depending on how you're performing in the gym and how much muscle you've gained. So in this first chart over here, we've got the strength component, which, as you can see, there's a beginner, novice, serious, intermediate, and also advanced. And this was actually taken from Andy Morgan's website, I'm pretty sure. So credit to him. And it's quite self-explanatory. So wherever you stand, if you're able to progress week to week, you would be a novice, whereas month to month, maybe more to the intermediate side. And this should just give you a rough estimate. So as your strength or your performance in the gym is progressing, you should be able to tell where you stand. And this one over here is slightly more difficult to track, but if you do weigh yourself frequently, you'll be able to tell how much you're gaining monthly, and that's in terms of muscle gain, as well as yearly. And so you would know roughly per year of training, so starting off your first year, followed by your second, how much you should be roughly gaining. So those are a couple benchmarks you can use to gauge your progress. Now, whether you're above that or below that depends on a whole variety of factors, some of which aren't really in your control.
Hey, how long you been lifting for, man?
3 months, but you'll get there, buddy.
But there are also a whole variety of factors which you can control, which is what this video is all about. The first thing you need to be doing is bulking. Bulking is very important because when you eat more calories than you actually expend, you're putting your body in a different state. You're changing the hormones in your body, and you're telling your body that you need to put on mass because you're giving your body more energy and more fuel to actually be able to do more in the gym and lift those heavier weights. And because of that, you're able to see faster strength gains since you have more energy. And being able to lift more weight also results in more gains. That's why if you want to put yourself in the best chance of gaining the most muscle, you would have to be bulking. If you are doing the total opposite and you were actually on a fat loss diet or you were shredding, then since there's not enough energy for your body, it would first go to your fat and then finally muscle as well as a form of energy. So when you're actually dieting, there are higher chances of you losing muscle, which is completely the opposite of what you want if you want to get as huge as Ronnie Coleman. If you want to find out more about bulking and exactly how to structure your bulk out, even if you're a beginner or advanced, and how to make it very easy and straightforward while being still effective and no need to track, watch my video on bulking. So the second thing is eating enough protein. And the advice everyone gives is a gram per pound per body weight. So if you weigh 180 pounds, that's 180 grams of protein. Now, you don't need to hit 180 every single day. It can be lower sometimes, it can be higher. But as long as you're roughly in that ballpark, that's great. But that should be a problem for all of the gym bros, because whichever gym bro you talk to, they're always scavenging for protein. All they really care about is protein.
How much protein in that meal, bro?
So as long as you're focusing on hitting roughly what you weigh, you should be good to go. The third thing is focusing on your pre and post workout meals. Those are the most important meals of your day. And to find out what foods you exactly need to choose, or which foods will help you work out the most efficiently or provide you the best energy, watch my video on the 5 principles everyone needs to religiously follow to continuously see gains. Your pre-workout meal is the most important meal, because think about it, if you were to eat a very poor meal which didn't give you any energy, your workout which would come right after would also be poor, since you don't have enough energy to fuel your workout. And over the couple of days, when your body is recovering and building muscle, it wouldn't need to repair as much or build as much muscle, since the stimulus it received wasn't that robust. When it comes to your pre-workout meal, all you gotta ensure is not eating too much sugary foods.
And you're gonna say, what about those bodybuilders who eat cereal before breakfast?
The thing with foods high in sugar is that they don't fill you up and they make you hungry very quickly. So when you go to work out a couple hours later, you're most likely going to feel very hungry during your workouts. But if that doesn't happen to you and you find that sugar gives you a boost, well then go ahead using it. But most likely for most people, you won't feel as full if you were to eat a much more complex meal. As for fats, keep them also low during your pre-workout, because they take much longer to digest. You don't want to be feeling still trying to digest the food while you're working out. When it comes to your post-workout meal, you don't need to be eating Cocoa Pops or cornflakes. The thing is, when you do work out in your gym, it actually doesn't burn as much glycogen as you really think. If you really wanted to see what glycogen depleted was, you would run a marathon and then go for a workout, and you'd see the actual difference. A normal gym session, especially the upper body ones, don't tax your glycogen or energy stores that much. So there's no need to go straight after your workout to a cheesecake factory and just gobble one down.
All you have to do is right before you take your protein, eat 30 to 80 grams of any high sugar.
The fourth thing to focus on, training each set to a hard enough level by not overdoing it. Now you may have heard the concept of RIR and RPE, and these are very advanced concepts or really nerdy topics. But if you were just to simplify it down, RIR means reps in reserve. So whenever you do a set of something and you feel like you could have done 10 reps, that's the maximum you could have done. So that's your 10 rep max. But for the set, you only did 8. At the end of the set, you could have done 2 more reps, which means you had 2 reps in the reserve or in your tank. And that would just be an RIR of 2. Now, when you first start out in the gym as beginners, you should be focusing more on technique. But as you advance throughout the gym and you go from beginner to intermediate to advanced, your exercises should go closer and closer to failure, or closer to 0 reps in reserve. It also depends on the exercise. For more compound exercises, you want to stay more closer to 5 RIR, whereas for more isolation type exercises, you want to stick closer to the 0 RIR. This is because trying to go closer to failure on compounds can be very risky and most likely going to injure yourself. If you were trying to squat to failure every single time, you never know when you'd lose your balance or be like this dude. So for example, if you're a person who's been training in the gym for a couple months and you're about to squat and it's the first exercise of the day, you may stay closer to 4 IR. Also, a thing is when you're first starting out in the gym, gauging how much RIR you have per set is very difficult because you haven't had enough experience where you know, where you get the sensation and you have a feeling that you know exactly how many more reps you're able to do. That only comes with time. The fifth thing is progressive overload. And this is a very common topic that everyone knows about. It's always good to re-establish the importance of progressive overload. And in a lot of my videos, I also talk about this. But if you aren't focusing on progressive overload, your body won't need, or your body won't find a need to readapt and build muscle session after session. As you progress in the gym, going from beginner to advanced, your progression will start slowing down. So how quickly you can progressive overload from session to session, so from Monday to Wednesday, or Tuesday to Wednesday, or Wednesday to Friday, will reduce. But as long as you have your own scheme or your own guide of how you progress, and you hit that weekly, or whether that be monthly, that's a good indication that you're maximizing the way you can progress. The next thing is the gym being your sole endeavor. Everyone knows the phrase, cardio is killing your gains.
Of how conditioning could be killing your gains.
The thing is, when you do cardio, so let's just say long distance running, your body needs to adapt to be able to run that far and also to keep on running a certain speed. That's why when you look at all the long distance runners, their body is built to do more endurance type training. And if you compare that with people who want to try get larger, like Ronnie Coleman or more aesthetics focused people, they're much larger and have more muscle mass compared to the marathon runners. This is because when you're training to run, you're training for endurance, or you're training your muscles for endurance. And usually that isn't the same as building muscle, which is all for the people who are focused on aesthetics and strength. And so because one group is all about endurance, whereas the other group is all about building muscle, the two different interests collide. And this means your muscles don't know whether to keep growing muscle or whether to go more down the endurance side. This doesn't mean you completely stop making any gains or that your gains will depreciate or go down. It just means the rate at which you do gain muscle will slowen because your resources that were originally just going to building muscle is now split, where half of them go to the endurance aspect and the other half go to the muscle building part. You only get half the gains, or you gain half as quickly. With that being said, the gym isn't the only place you should ever sweat. It shouldn't be like working hard in the gym and only walking outside. It's totally okay to spend time going on cycles or going out with friends and playing a sport. But just ensure that if you do, or if you are serious about getting into another sport, that you will need to compromise. And that compromise means that you won't be able to maximize your gains. The final thing is recovery. Recovery is very important, and recovery is a very broad topic because it includes a lot of things outside the gym, whether that be stretching or going to sleep for enough time or eating throughout the day, which fuels you and helps you recover. As long as you do your own research and invest time into understanding how you can maximize your recovery, it will help you maximize your performance in the gym, which will maximize your gains. See you in the next one, and may the gains be with you.